when I start to feel, you feel the aches, you feel the pains, you feel the things that happen to you as you get older, that in a strange way actually motivates me to get off my ass.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Heysal podcast. I am Sal, your host, and we're live here in Rome, Italy at the moment with Tom Lindbloom. He is an actor, voice, narrator, a teacher, an editor, a musician, and a Japanese wedding minister. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How's it going, man?
It's going well.
Yay! So we're also on the live stream thing right now on Facebook, I think.
Hi, Facebook.
Oh.
First time.
So where does somebody has to go to see this?
Anywhere on Facebook. So I think it's anyone that I know can see it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So how's it going, man? How's
your
your trip
well.
so far?
It's had its ups and its downs.
You live in Japan,
I
right?
do. I do.
So how's life there?
I've been there for 15 years, so it's home.
Right.
Yeah.
And what you up to there? What brought you there? You're from the United States, right? The United States of America.
I'm from America. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
As you can hear.
Mm-hmm.
What brought you there? Why did you leave?
It's a bit of what
did you do?
It's a bit of a long story. I grew up in Pennsylvania.
Right.
State College, which is right in the middle of Pennsylvania. I went to Penn State University, which is also there, because when you grow up there, you pretty much always go there. Mm-hmm. And when I graduated, I had never been overseas. Canada does not count as overseas, by the way. So I joined the Peace Corps. Are you familiar with the Peace Corps?
Sure.
Yeah?
I mean, I know what they are.
Okay,
I never joined myself.
If you don't, it's like it's an American organization started by John F. Kennedy, and you volunteer for 2 years to live in a poor third world kind of country, and you do English teaching, environment work, or healthcare, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I was pretty interested in Asia, and I told them, like, all right, Asia. And I was thinking, like, Thailand, Cambodia, nice beaches, good food, beautiful women.
Right.
And they sent me to Mongolia. And so I spent 2 years there. And while I was there was when 9/11 happened. And that was 2001. And I didn't go back for 2 more years. And when I got back in 2003, things had gotten a little strange in the States. And it wasn't for me anymore. So I was like, where do I go? And first on the list was Japan, because I was just like, okay, I did 2 years of camping, and now I want to live in a kind of a clean, easy environment. So I ended up in Japan, and I've been there for the last 15 years.
So where did you learn Japanese?
Where? Yeah,
did you learn it before, or did you just pick it up while you were there?
I'm still learning.
Obviously you speak Japanese because you're a wedding minister there.
Yeah, so. I do. But like, I still study. But I did 6 months studying a bit before I went. But like the problem with Japanese is like it's really local. Like there's so many dialects. It's sort of like England, right? And when I got there, I actually lived up north in the middle of nowhere, kind of near where Fukushima is, a place called Yamagata. And I was thinking, my thought was, I'm going to learn a whole lot faster if I live in the countryside and surrounded by Japanese. But I got up there, and whatever they were speaking was not what was in the textbooks. And so, no Japanese that first year. And then I moved to Osaka, and again, another really strong local dialect. And again, first 4 or 5 years, basically no Japanese. Just like, okay, I don't know what the hell's going on. And after that, basically, I studied long enough to be able to pick up a girl in a bar in Japanese. And that was around year 5 or 6. And I was like, all right, I'm done. And then I was pretty happy with that level for a while. And then when I got into acting and voice work and all this other stuff where I needed to talk to directors and all this other stuff, kind of, it was time to pick up the books again.
And how did you get into the whole acting business? Like, did you know somebody also before, or?
So.
How does somebody just go to Japan and then all of a sudden become an actor?
Well, it's kind of easy in Asia, but.
It is easy?
Well, if you fit the part, and Japanese have very stereotypical images of what you should look like, then pretty much anybody can do it, right? But I was never really interested in acting. In high school and in college, all of the thespians that I knew were kind of asshats.
Okay.
You know, everyone was very acting, right? And I got into it because about 7 years ago, a friend of mine, a British friend of mine, had posted a open audition on Facebook, and it was for a TV commercial. And I had the day off. I had nothing to do, and I was just like, "Well, this would be a funny story. I'm not going to get the job, but it'll be experience." Mm-hmm. And showed up, did the audition, got the job, and basically it was a sandwich commercial where I got to dress up as an English pomp, like the white wig and the frilly shirt, and got paid $1,000. And
did you do a British accent?
No, it was all like we were eating sandwiches and we were right. But there was no accent for that one. But I was like, yeah, more of this, please. And that was how I started doing it. And later, when I actually was on some TV shows and was actually acting, it was a lot of fun. It was a great experience. And who knew? So.
Wow. Well, you went, the whole acting career seems to have worked out quite well for you because you went to Cannes just recently.
I did, right? Last year.
Yeah, wow. How did that happen? What movie did you, you were acting in a movie or you were...
So it was for,
what were you doing there?
It was for something called the 48-Hour Film Project, which is pretty cool. Like, you basically, a director has 48 hours to get a topic, they get objects that they have to use in their film, and then they have to write the film, and then film the film, edit the film, and submit it within 48 hours. It's like it's only 7 minutes long, but like it's a lot of pressure. And the guy I worked with, who directed the film, he did it 3 years in a row, and basically just didn't sleep for 2 days. And the second film that we filmed, called Baby in the Dark, was pretty popular, I guess. So it won in Japan, and then him and his wife went to Paris and won there, and then sort of the final prize was it gets a screening at Cannes. Mm-hmm. And so last year I went to France for the first time and got to go to Cannes, which was pretty cool.
How was that? Like, is it a lot of stars there, and is there a red carpet thing going on?
There is. So
did you get to meet anybody?
I got to meet Pierce Brosnan. That was pretty cool.
How was he?
I didn't get to talk to him, but him and his wife were giving a speech about their passion about Hawaii. She had made a documentary about pollution in Hawaii, and it was pretty funny because obviously pollution in Hawaii is probably not what people are going to Cannes to see. So I was actually sitting at the Irish stall having a beer when an American showed up and was like, "Do you want to meet Pierce Brosnan?" And I was like, "Yes, I do." And they basically were just trying to fill the seats, right? But it was cool. I mean, he is still a handsome man for being in his 60s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there was the proper red carpet. That was when Star Wars, The Last Jedi came out. So all of them were there.
What do you think of the last Star Wars movies? Are you a Star Wars fan generally?
I am a huge Star Wars fan.
Okay, then you must have an opinion about the latest installments.
I do.
And what they did to the main characters on the show.
It sucked.
It sucked?
It sucked.
Why did it suck? There's a lot of unrest in the community right now about the whole
Some people loved it. I get
Star
it.
Wars.
Like what's his name? Ryan Johnson, the director.
Maybe Frankie can put it up on the screen in a second.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. Expectations of a Star Wars movie, like the Episode 7 was all right. Mm-hmm. J.J. Abrams stuck pretty close to the source material, but we're just going to yank out all your expectations and do something completely off its tits. It didn't do it for me. Did you like it?
No, I did not.
Yeah. Why didn't you like it?
I've just found it boring. I don't know. There was no deeper analysis behind the whole thing. It's just...
I mean, just on the basis of what they did to Luke, where they made him just this.
I mean, they're killing off all the characters that we got to know in the original Star Wars movies. So, what's the point now to watch the whole thing?
Just making him a whiny old man was just not okay with me. Because, I grew up with the originals. So,
I mean, I must say, I was never a big Star Wars fan.
Mm-hmm.
I like science fiction. I like, what's a good science fiction movie I enjoyed recently? Star Trek, obviously.
Yeah.
I didn't like the last Star Trek, though.
No, I didn't either. I don't like the...
I didn't like what they did to the Klingons. The Klingons look very ridiculous now.
The Kelvin timeline, I think they call it now, which is the new timeline with the old cast. They're all recast.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
They're running out of ideas.
Yeah.
I got some.
The last good one was... I like the Next Generation one with the Borg. That was New Contact.
Right. I'm really looking forward to see the thing with Jean-Luc Picard.
The new TV series.
Although I hear horrible things about the first test screenings they made.
Wait and
see.
That's my opinion on that one. Yeah.
But the fact that it passed, that I think Netflix declined it and Amazon Prime is now going to show it.
Is that
That makes me a bit suspicious.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to just wait and see with that one. Because the newest one is not very popular at all. The Star Trek... Do you know what I'm talking about? The TV series that's...
I think that's the one I'm talking about.
Right.
The one where the Klingons look silly and they don't look anything like they used to look on the old original shows.
What it's called. Like the heroine is the black chick.
I don't know what her name is.
Yeah, I forgot what her name is. Yeah. So.
Anyway, so you're not happy with Star Trek. Anyway, but so you saw the Star Trek guys, Star Wars guys. Sorry, little slip up there.
Yeah, I mean,
in Cannes.
If J.J. Abrams could pull off a miracle and actually make the next one good, I will be completely impressed. But I don't think it's going to happen.
All right.
I mean, I think the expectations are too high to pull a rabbit out of a hat. So, I mean, I'm not even going to go see it in the theater. I'll just wait for it to come out on DVD.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you watch movies often?
I do. I'm a huge movie fan.
So, what are Japanese movies like?
It's funny. Japanese movies. So, this is not my opinion. This is my Japanese friend who's the director that got us to Cannes' opinion. He doesn't like the acting. He doesn't like the direction. They're sweet, saccharine, kind of ridiculous things. And if I sit down and concentrate, I can understand what's going on in a Japanese movie, but I typically don't watch them. There's what? Is there any Japanese stuff that I like as far as movies?
Takeshi's Castle.
I mean, okay.
That's a TV show, it's not a movie.
So, my first experience with Japan was Godzilla.
Right.
When I was a kid, 4, 5, 6. I love Godzilla movies. The new one, have you seen it?
The latest one, wasn't that a Jackson...
Ken Watanabe and...
Because they did 2 new ones kind of recently.
Well, they made a Japanese one.
The one was with P. Diddy, who did the soundtrack. Da-da-dun, da-da-dun, da-da-dun. Wasn't that Godzilla?
Was that Godzilla? I don't know.
Or was it Independence Day?
Maybe, yeah. I think it was. Things? Yeah.
I thought it was Godzilla, though.
Nah, I don't think it was. Yeah, the newest one. So the newest one was a sequel to the one that came out maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and it's in the States.
Okay.
Well, this one's all over the world, but it's it's American based, and it was better than the first one because it's just monsters the whole way through.
Oh, okay.
The first Godzilla movie kind of sucked because there was no Godzilla in the Godzilla movie, right? Till the very, very end, when Godzilla kicked the shit out of a bunch of monsters in San Francisco.
Right.
But this one is just monsters the whole way through, which is why you go to a Godzilla movie, right? Yeah. But the last Japanese one was awesome. And maybe it's just because I live there, but I was in a full theater, all Japanese. My director friend and I, and in the middle of the movie, Godzilla falls asleep in the middle of Tokyo, and they take 2 bullet trains. He falls asleep on the bullet train track,
Right.
and they take 2 bullet trains and they ram them into his balls to wake him up. And me and my friend were the only one laughing in the entire theater. All the Japanese were just sitting there completely silent, like, of course, this is what happens. You just wake Godzilla up by
makes totally sense.
ramming a bullet train into his balls, So that was pretty funny.
I mean, I've never been to Japan, so
Right.
I'm very curious to see Tokyo.
Go.
And I've seen all the footage of the metro where people are being pushed inside and shoved inside because they're so overpacked and people sleeping, standing on the metro.
That is more of a Tokyo thing.
Yeah?
And it happens twice a day, in the morning and in the evening.
Because you live in Osaka.
Yep.
So, okay. It happens during rush hour, basically, so it's not
Sure.
a normal thing.
No, I mean, it's not an everyday thing, but I mean, that picture is pretty shocking.
I mean, we got something similar here
when
in
you see
Rome.
the train pusher,
Yeah. I mean, we don't have a train push, an official one, but we have people pushing themselves into the tram and the trains here.
Yeah.
Or the buses in Rome,
Right.
so it's very
But does it
common
get
occurrence now.
that packed?
It gets that packed, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
And doors don't close properly. Mm-hmm. And then still somebody will try to eventually shove themselves in. It's really bad.
Yeah.
It's really bad. So, Japan, what should I expect? Like, what are the differences? As compared to Rome or Italy or Europe in general?
Okay,
or the
so
States?
as a tourist versus as living there are kind of completely different experiences, right? I mean, it's the same with anywhere you go. Like when you just visit there for a week,
Right.
you're just going to get the superficial kind of aspect of it, right? But so as a tourist, if you were visiting, Japanese are super polite. It's super safe. You will get unbelievable hospitality. They're very hospitable people. That's probably going to be your impression. And like, I mean, you grew up in Germany.
Right.
The functionality and the punctuality of that place is second to none. I think maybe probably better than Germany. I think like the Japanese bullet train, it was off by like 4 minutes in a year.
Wow.
Yeah. They know their shit. What they're good at, they're really, really good at. Right. And it's one of the reasons why I like to live there. If you live there and you get under their skin and you get to know them, they're still wonderful people. But everybody has skeletons in their closet and have their dark sides and whatnot. They're kind of racist. But as a foreigner living there, as an American living there, I should say, because it's different for everybody depending where you're from. But like, they definitely pick their favorites, and they definitely have opinions about Western people and foreigners, and if you fit their mold, it's a great place to live. I kind of fit their mold, right? Tall white dude. So it's cool for me, but I've seen it be not cool for a lot of people too.
Yeah, like what?
If you're from an African country, if you're they have a strange relationship with Brazil. So a lot of Japanese, I guess about 100 years ago, Japan was going through kind of a bit of a crisis economically, and a lot of Japanese moved to Brazil. So there was a lot of second, third generation, half Japanese, quarter Japanese from Brazil, and they're basically allowed to come back to Japan whenever they want. But some of them cause problems, dealing drugs, whatnot, and basically Japan offers them a free ticket to go back to Brazil, not to come back.
Really?
Yeah, like
Wow.
Here's your ticket, bye-bye.
It's like opposite to Israel, who tries to get people into the country.
Kind of,
Pays them for getting in,
exactly. So
Wow.
it's just really interesting how they treat different people.
And so, are there any movements similar to in the States or civil movements in Europe that kind of try to fight racism actively, or is it just everybody's? And And the racism, I mean,
Yeah.
I suppose you talked a bit about this, like the racism is very subtle, I suppose, there.
It's passive aggressive.
Right.
Right.
So it's not that, like, kind of, we try to burn you because you're different, whatever.
No, it's
or
not.
aggressive
It's not the American yeehaw, you don't belong here, go
Right.
back home kind of racism. It's more like you're dumb and don't understand because our culture's different than yours kind of racism.
Okay.
But whatever.
There's a lot of violence.
Japan?
Yeah.
Interesting question.
Especially in regards to foreigners or racism.
Yeah, like, so Japan, I mean, I think in the entire world, Japan's probably the safest country I've ever been to. A good example of that is, like, you can go to a coffee shop, put your wallet on a table to kind of declare that's your table, go and get a drink, come back, and no one has stolen your wallet. So it's unbelievably safe. But at the same time, like, I have in English, I have a Facebook page that gives me all the Japanese crime news. And Japanese love to kill each other, family members. Husbands killing wives, wives killing husbands, dads killing their sons, sons killing their, So there's a lot of stabbings.
It's like honor killings, or what?
No,
what are motives?
it's not like a more kind of Muslim honor killing kind of thing. It's just more of just like Japanese, because it's such a small country, they all live together, right? Generations, like grandparents, parents, and kids all live together under the same roof. And people just get tired of each other. And one day they snap and just are like, I'm sick of seeing you every day. And they kill each other.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is there like a high percentage of young people who still live with their parents, like in Italy, or?
Yeah. That way, Italy and Japan are very, very similar. Where in the States, you turn 18. I want to get the fuck. Well, the parents, but also the kids are just like, I want to get the fuck out. I want to be independent. I want to be an individual. All that stuff.
Same in Germany.
Yeah, but no, in Japan, basically, a lot of people, like girls, will live with their parents until they get married. 28, 29, 30.
But why is that? Is it like just a cultural thing that they want to be there, or is it a?
It's a cultural thing. Like, it just family is huge.
So it's not an economical thing that has to do with
I mean,
high rent and stuff.
there's definitely that aspect too. Like, a 25-year-old woman will be living at home with her parents and not paying rent, so all the money she makes is just disposable income. So, and until she gets married, whatever.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. So you're also a minister.
I am.
How did that happen?
That's also a long story. So in university, I kind of double majored in comparative religion and speech communications, which was a lot of public speaking. And basically because I was just interested in both of them. I never thought I would get a job or anything doing either of them, right? And I moved to Japan, and someone said, yeah, you could totally become a wedding minister if you're a tall white dude.
Right.
And I was like, okay, that sounds pretty cool. And basically, I get to fulfill both of my majors, being a Japanese wedding minister. I think of it more as acting. But some people there take it very, very seriously as far as their beliefs. But what's funny about it is, from what I've heard, like, it's kind of a lonely profession. You don't meet a whole lot of other ministers because you're just there by yourself. But you meet them in bars mostly, and what I've heard is the people that actually are actual religious people that do it are not very good at that, because they actually have other responsibilities that aren't about marrying people, right? Mostly it's the non-religious people that, take it a bit more seriously because it's their only job.
So do you do the ceremonies in Japanese, or is it foreigners coming there and do them in English?
So it's about 80% Japanese and 20% English, because the Japanese want that foreign flair. So just enough English that they're like, oh, okay, this is definitely not Japanese. But, they want to know what's going on, so most of it's Japanese.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why would they choose somebody who's tall and white and not Japanese to do their, like if you're born in a small town,
Right.
and you know the priest or whatever. I mean, I'm not sure what the biggest religion is in
Japan?
Japan at the moment.
It's Buddhist and Shinto.
Shinto.
Shinto is their native religion. Buddhism obviously came from India.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Shinto is like,
I mean, the
I do not know
the
much
best
about
thing
it.
I could equate Shintoism to is sort of like Native American beliefs. So
Spirits and stuff.
there's spirit gods, there's river gods, there's
Right.
mountain gods. It's a lot about the spirit of things, which is really, I mean, it's one of the things that's really interesting about Japan is where in the West, if you look at our movies and media, we kind of demonize robots, right? And we're waiting for Armageddon, Terminator kind of stuff, right? Japanese believing that everything has a spirit,
Including robots?
including robots, which is why they have a much kind of friendlier view of them. Whereas, we think robots don't have souls, therefore they are
They take away our
they're
jobs
evil.
and will kill us.
Right, they're evil.
Boston Dynamics.
Japanese don't see
I
it that
see
way. They
what
see
they do.
robots as kind of like friendly helpers, But yeah, so Shintoism, that's kind of why they believe that. But like Shintoism is, it's sort of a Native American kind of thing, without all the feathers and whatnot. But and then obviously their forms of Buddhism are a bit different than Chinese Buddhism or Tibetan Buddhism. So.
And so they just, for entertainment purposes, want somebody else who's not Japanese, or is it good
Well,
luck? Or I mean, I wonder why somebody would
So
specifically choose somebody, or are you maybe on some listing and
Right.
they just take whoever's a celebrant and they don't give a crap about who's gonna be the one
Sure.
doing the celebration?
So one of the really fascinating things about living in Japan is where in the States, religious people are very proactive about talking about their beliefs and, do you love Jesus? Kind of thing. And, in Europe is very Catholic. Japanese are religious, but they keep it to themselves.
Okay.
And it's their shit, their business, and they don't need to tell you about it unless you get engaged in a conversation about it, right? Which is awesome, right? So they also really compartmentalize their lives, religiously speaking. So they'll believe in Shintoism, Buddhism, and Christianity, depending on the aspect of their life that they're dealing with. So it could be a birth of a child, it could be building a new house, it could be a funeral, it could be a wedding. They will just pick the religion that fits the part depending on what they're doing that particular day, which is, to me, I think that's kind of cool. It's so foreign to Western people. Like,
Right.
You're Catholic, my family's Catholic too. Like, that's who you are, right? But they kind of pick and choose, which is pretty cool.
It's interesting. All right. So, is there something going on in Japan, like in the rest of the world, like the political correctness phenomenon that you've probably heard of?
They are and they aren't. Like, I've seen rumblings of Me Too in Japan. Obviously, not a lot, but some Western people, when they come to Japan, they want to rebrand it into their own image, which is Japan is more traditional, like Italy is. People have social roles, men and women. And a lot of people, they fall into those very traditional roles. But, like a lot of Western people come over there and, they're just like, well, this place is completely sexist and racist and all of these other things. And they want to change the whole thing, right? But I think most Japanese like the way that their society functions. There's definitely, Japan is definitely a fucking sexist country.
Okay.
And, obviously a lot of women are the blunt end of the stick of that sexism. So, some people want to change it somewhat.
Are there any movements there that proactively fight that?
There's I think it's more in Tokyo. But I've seen Me Too stuff on YouTube in Japan.
Right.
That kind of thing.
So, by the way, what you drinking there? Like we got this kind of a...
I am drinking a cannabis energy drink. So I don't know if it actually has any weed in it, but I just had to buy it
how
for the
this
can.
works. Do you feel something? Do
Nope.
you feel a bit funny?
No,
Different?
no,
No effect at all?
none.
Relaxed?
I'm relaxed.
All right.
Yeah.
What's it taste like?
Tastes like Red Bull.
Can I smell it?
Yeah. How about it?
Let me check here. It smells like Red Bull.
Yeah.
Hemp energy beverage.
I just wanted a picture of the can because it's funny.
It's weird.
Yeah, Japanese. Japan is really funny where it comes to if you're a smoker or a drinker, it's a great place to live. If you like drugs, don't go to Japan.
Why?
Because they're unbelievably strict about drugs in Japan. Whether that be marijuana or harder stuff, but like you just don't do it, right? So it's really funny. Like I have a few friends that whatever country they were from, they had drug problems, and they basically moved to Japan to detox, and they all became functional alcoholics, basically. So,
Wow.
yeah,
Incredible.
incredible.
How are you liking your trip in Rome so far? You stay in Rome.
In Rome has
Yeah.
been great.
You got some Italian family, right?
I do. My mother's side, my great grandfather was born in Abruzzo in Gardigrele.
Where's that?
It's southern. Well, Abruzzo is to the east of Rome,
Right.
And then in that, what is it? Is it province, territory? What do you call them?
It's a region.
Is it a region?
Yeah,
Is that
because
what you
the
call them?
region here is called Lazio,
Like,
and the region next to Lazio
but
is...
do you call them states here? What do you
No,
call them?
region.
You call them regions.
Regione, yes.
Okay, so in the Abruzzo region, it's in the southern middle.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So my mom's from Abruzzo too. She's from Giulianova, which is on the east coast.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I made it there. Yeah.
I don't think I've been to your place either.
Yeah, it's a small town.
Otherwise, we would probably be would be an 80% chance that we're related. You know.
Exactly.
If you'd be from the same
I'm sure
town.
somewhere down the line we're related. Yeah.
Possible. We're all related anyway. They
Yeah.
say, we're all one kind.
Evolutionarily speaking, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's your plan? What you doing in Europe at the moment?
So I just got through 2 weeks in Spain, which was my first time there. That was pretty cool. Hanging out here for a few days. Then I'm going to see another American friend who used to live in Japan, married an Italian, had a bunch of kids, and they live in her hometown, which was, do you remember?
You showed me. I have never heard of that place.
Yeah,
before.
it's a small
I don't
town.
know.
Nice beaches, but small town near Napoli. Probably hang out there for a week or so.
All right.
And then the last part of the trip is still unplanned. So maybe Sicily, maybe Portugal. I don't know yet. So
I recommend Sicily, definitely.
that's what I hear. So I'm leaning towards Sicily at this point.
Right.
I've never been south of Napoli, so I would actually really like to see the southern part of Italy.
So you're an actor. You're doing all these things. What do you do to kind of motivate yourself, getting up in the morning and doing the things that you do? Do you have like a master plan that you're following?
I mean, I guess I do.
Yeah. What's your master plan?
What's my master plan?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long topic. But like motivation, getting up in the morning.
Yeah. How you get motivated? Like a lot of people, they just live their lives and
Sure.
complain about things and don't get anything done, or they have
Absolutely.
the lack of motivation. They would like to change things but don't know how, and how
I did that.
how you do that.
I've done that for years. I mean, when I was younger, 20s, early 30s,
Procrastinating.
procrastinating. I'll do it later. See you this. See you later. But like, I don't know. For me, I mean, everybody's different, but for me, when you start to feel age start to creeping into your life, like I'm 43. I'm not young anymore.
So it's the prospect of death that kind of
That's. I mean,
Makes you
I'm
makes
not
you sharper.
concerned about dying. I'm concerned about I have a limited time left to do lots of things.
before you die.
Right.
Right.
So when I start to feel, you feel the aches, you feel the pains, you feel the things that happen to you as you get older. That, in a strange way, actually motivates me to get off my ass. I guess that's the best way of putting it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what's the master plan?
The master plan.
Yeah.
I've got a few.
Where you go from here,
I've got a few master plans, I guess, but what I would love to do is to get my permanent residency in Japan, like a green card.
Right.
And because of my Italian ancestry, I can actually get Italian citizenship as well after getting a lot of paperwork. But ideally, would be able to live between Japan and Europe with trips to the States every year to see family. They're getting older.
Okay.
So, yeah. But I guess that would be the master plan. Yeah.
Let's see, by the way, we're live streaming. I see there's some text messages. Do you think somebody wrote something?
Maybe they did.
Maybe there
Should
are
I
questions.
check?
Yeah, let's check if there's some questions there.
Japan is great for Jews.
Who wrote that?
Thank you, Nico.
All right.
That's what I'm going to see next.
Okay. Hey, Nico, how's it going, man?
Hi, Nico. Watching. So people are watching. But
All right, awesome. Well, if you got any questions for this gentleman here, now's the time, the moment of the truth. Now he's gonna reveal everything. He's gonna give it away to the whole world in this very
whatever
moment.
you want to know,
Yeah.
go for
See
it.
what happens.
Yeah.
Also, Frankie from who's behind the monitor there. If he has any questions there, just write them down.
Yeah.
If you get any messages from anybody watching right now, let us know. So yeah, what we're talking about, your master plan.
The master plan.
Right.
Right.
We're from again in the States?
Pennsylvania.
So how's that?
I was born in New Hampshire, lived there till I was 4 or 5,
Right.
and then I moved to Pennsylvania.
Right.
So basically Pennsylvania, but I guess you would say my heart is in New Hampshire. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was the Peace Corps that kind of made you travel in a way? Or was there before an urge to leave the States and the Peace Corps was an excuse to
Yeah, I mean,
get out?
My hometown, State College is a really nice town. It's clean, it's functional, it's
Perfect.
It's perfect. And to me, that always gave me the kind of Stepford Wives feeling of just like, you should live here. This place is great. You know, we all love it here. And like, for perfect example, the name of the region that the town is in, the valley, is called Happy Valley. Right? So
Creepy as fuck.
it's creepy as fuck. So it was just one of those like, I got to get the fuck out of here kind of things. And I had never been overseas. And after I graduated university, it just was like, it was funny. I asked my dad, what should I do? Because my dad was always like, all right, graduate high school, you got to go to college, got to graduate, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, okay. And then when I did, and I said, now what? And he goes, I don't know. You figure it out.
Okay.
And I was like, shit. So the solution to me was, all right, I guess I need to go overseas and see more of this big world that we live in. And that's why I joined the Peace Corps, because it seemed like the way to go. And when I did that, I was just thinking like, all right, let's go somewhere with warm weather, nice beaches, beautiful women, and good food. And they sent me to Mongolia. And I'm very happy that's where I went.
Like mostly desert there, or
Mongolia is huge.
I've seen a movie on Netflix. What's the name again of the movie?
I don't know.
Marco Polo.
Oh, really? I didn't
Yeah.
watch that one. Is it good?
It's quite nice. Yeah.
Yeah?
But it looks like a very abandoned.
Yes. So,
like
okay.
place.
First of all,
Back
Mongolia
then, anyway.
Mongolia is huge. It's the same size as Alaska, which is the third of the United States. So it's an enormous country, and there's only like 3 million Mongolians that live there,
Right.
which is less than Osaka. And so it's an enormous place. So the south is the Gobi Desert. The east, where I live, is the steppe, so kind of grassy, flat plains. North is kind of forests, and then the west is the Altai Mountains. So it's kind of grass, huge mountains. I've seen half of it. I didn't get to go to the Altai or to the Gobi, but it's a beautiful country.
Right. By the way, Frank, I just saw you put something on the screen, but I can't read it because you kind of moved it away. Yeah, maybe there's a question here. Let's see. It's a bit small. That the Italian actor in the Marco Polo movie is an important character. Like the actor himself? Yeah? I don't know the actor. What's his name? Nobody knows. Anyway,
Is it
just got a feedback that the character
Is it a
who
long
plays
se-
Marco Polo
Right.
is apparently very
is it a
important.
long series, or how many episodes
Yeah,
does
I
it
think
have?
they stopped at some point all of a sudden because I think they ran out of either budget
Of shit that he did,
or maybe not
or
enough
money.
people were watching it. I think because there was supposed to be another season and then they just stopped filming the whole thing. I
Okay.
think Netflix bought the whole thing before.
Right. Yeah, I'll have to watch that one.
Yeah.
I saw
It's
that.
quite good.
Yeah.
Also like a what's his name? 1,000 Fingers or something like.
Yeah.
the kung fu guy there. It's very good.
Yeah.
Do you do any sports? Martial arts?
I like going to the gym.
Yeah.
I started going to the gym
What do you do there?
when I turned 30. Weight training mostly.
Weights, okay.
Lifting.
How much you weigh? How much you lifting right now?
I can do like 250 on a bench. Yeah. But like, I started going to the gym when I turned 30 because when I was a kid, I was always skinny as fuck. And when I finally hit 30, I could actually put some weight on. And I decided I'm going to get as fat as I can absolutely get.
Really?
And
Why would you do that?
Just because I could do it for the first time, right? Because I could never hold any weight when I was young. So
Like fat or big?
no, like fat. Like I was just like I want to eat everything until I
You
get.
should have filmed it like the guy did it with his documentary.
Yeah.
Super Size Me.
Uh-huh.
You just did the same thing, but you filmed it, you know.
Yeah. My roommate got to watch the whole year experience, but after about a year, I was like, all right, I'm slow and tired, and
But why would you decide to get fat? Like, why would you? Okay, I understand.
I don't know.
That you like food and
have
just
you
eat.
have you always been the same size that you are?
No, but I've never consciously decided to become fat. Like it might happen that I let myself go, or I forget to eat more healthy, or
Right.
I'm in stress, and there's periods where I do not eat as healthy as I could, and
Sure.
don't work out as much.
Yeah.
And then I naturally turn fat.
Uh-huh.
Not fat, but bigger. I never got really fat. Mm-hmm. But usually it's the other way around. That I'm looking in the mirror, I'm like, wow, I gained some weight. I'm going to lose it. Mm-hmm. But I've never heard somebody who's taken a conscious decision to be like, I want to be fat.
Well, okay. This is my point. Is I grew up really skinny, right?
Right.
And I was always skinny, and I mean, it's funny. Like fat people that you grew up fat, even if they lose the weight when they get older, mentally they're always fat, right?
Right.
Right. They always see themselves as fat. Skinny people, when they grow up skinny, no matter how big you get, you know, like I think they call it like body dysmorphia. Like it's like like I mean, if it gets kind of crazy, like you just never see that you're big enough. But yeah, I was just always so skinny that when I finally could put on some weight, I was like, let's see how big I can get.
Right.
You know. But then after a while, I was like, ugh. Being fat and chewy does not feel good. And that was when I joined a gym for the first time. So I was like 30, 31. But, and then that becomes a bit addictive. So, I mean, now I look like I do sports, but I was never a sports guy.
Right. I just got the message here that the guy from Super Size Me, he gained 11 kilos in a month. Is that right? All right, more or less.
Yeah.
Okay.
No steroids?
I don't know. Did you take steroids? No.
11 kilos is a lot to gain in a month. Like muscle?
In a month?
In a muscle
There
in a
was
month?
muscle, yeah. There was Super Size Me, he just ate.
The guy
fat
from Super
mass,
Size.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's easy for fat.
Yeah. I mean, the only time I gained a lot of weight in a month was when I went to the United States. I did like a whole road trip from New York all the way down to Florida.
Yep.
And it's just so convenient, you know? It's like there's cheap burgers everywhere.
Dude, American food tastes delicious. It's just terrible for you.
Right.
Yeah.
And I put this stupid idea in my head that I wanted to try a different burger every day in a different place. Because
Very
there's
good.
so many different burgers. It's like we only have McDonald's here and Burger King and then the local joints, of course.
Sure.
So I wanted to try a real American burger every day. By the way, I saw there's another message
Is
there.
there another one?
I'm not sure if that's a question or not. Maybe we can check there. Something on below the blue kind of screen there. So,
There's a bunch.
a lot of messages. Let's see. Let's read the insults that are most funny
Drunk
ones.
on drums.
Drunk on drums. You're drunk on drums.
Thank you, Nino.
Okay.
All right, very good. Japan is great for Jews.
Okay, we got that one
Bless.
already. Yes.
That's it.
Drunk on drums.
Drunk on drums.
You playing drums?
I don't.
Only when you're drunk.
Only when I'm drunk.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
And Nino knows all about it.
Well, Nino still saw me on occasion do some silly things. Although I've seen him do some silly things too. He I went out with him and another British friend one day, and he fell off his bike and broke his leg, being pissed in Japan.
Right. Planet Hollywood Rome, is that a burger joint? Okay, Frankie just wrote me that Planet Hollywood Rome, they apparently tried to open the chain here too.
I mean, that was started by
the burger store. No?
It was Schwarzenegger, Stallone, and
that's the one, right?
And I think
I thought they were running Hard Rock Cafe.
No, that wasn't Hard Rock. It was Planet Hollywood.
Okay, right.
Right. What the hell's his name? I just forgot his name. I just saw his movie the other day. Pulp Fiction. Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis. Yeah, I think it was the three of them that started it.
The father of Aston Kutcher.
Exactly. Yep.
Right.
Aston Kutcher's stepdad. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Let's see. It's a bit small, the text there. Actually, if you increase the font size, Frankie, I think I can read it better. He's giving me like this for somebody who's listening right now, he's giving me this in-screen kind of in notifications there, but I cannot really read anything here. There we go. Text size. Oh, now I can read it actually. Thanks. So 11 kilos in almost a month. We got that already. Go down.
No steroids.
Down. We gotta get in-ear monitor so he can communicate with me directly. Demi Moore, Schwartz. Demi Moore is part of it too.
Right.
Demi Moore, Schwarzenegger, Bruce Willis, and Stallone.
Right. That was all of them. Right.
Okay. Right. Maybe that's why they failed, because they got divorced or something.
Well, I mean, I think it was a great concept, but Hard Rock Cafe pretty much has that whole business wrapped up.
It sounds like it's exactly the same thing. No?
It's exactly
Live
the
music,
same. Yeah.
Food.
Yeah. So I think they were attempting to put like famous people's clothing and whatnot from movies in there instead of guitars and whatnot. So yeah, Hard Rock pretty much has that all wrapped up. Do you know anything about Kyoto?
Italy, yeah, it's Italy.
No. Do you know anything about Kyoto?
Kyoto, no.
So Kyoto is the kind of historic city that has all the temples and shrines right next to Osaka.
Right.
And that's where all the tourists go. But in that city, they made McDonald's and Starbucks kind of adapt their logos to the theme of looking traditionally Japanese. Right? Like, so there's no like bright golden arches. It's all like toned down to browns and tans.
Right.
Because they're just like, all right, if you're going to be in our city, then you have to meet our standards.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
interesting.
Pretty funny.
What's it called?
Kyoto.
Yeah. Is that also the Kyoto Protocol that with the climate agreement or something? Yeah,
that was the Kyoto Accord was written in Kyoto. So
makes sense.
Yeah,
it's called that.
This is an interesting story. So when World War II was ending and they were going to drop the bombs on Japan, there was a general who was in charge of making the list of cities. And what they did was there were certain cities that they were thinking about using the bomb on, and they didn't do any aerial raids on those cities because they wanted to see the full destructive power of the bomb, right? And Kyoto was pretty high on the list, right? And like Kyoto is the soul of Japan. Like it's their historic, most traditional, beautiful city. It used to be the capital before Tokyo, like way back in the day. And this general, him and his wife had done their honeymoon in Kyoto. And that general, because he had such a strong feeling about Kyoto from his honeymoon, crossed it off the list. And that's why it never got bombed. Yeah.
Wow.
Weird.
That's a weird story.
Yeah.
Is it true?
It is true. It is true.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's many stories like that, though. Like also they made a movie of this too. I think this Russian general who it was like up to him whether they should retaliate to a seeming threat. It looked like the United States were about to bomb.
That was a computer
Russia.
error, I think, wasn't it?
It was?
I think it was a computer error.
Could be.
Yeah.
And so it showed them that basically a few missiles,
right.
nuclear missiles, were heading their way.
We're heading towards, yeah.
So there were a few kind of control mechanisms that had to kind of confirm and give the order to ultimately retaliate.
Yeah.
And he decided to wait. And I didn't see or read the whole story, but in the end, spoiler alert, the whole world did not fall apart.
We're still here.
We did not enter a nuclear war.
Well, I mean, there was so many of those.
But it was that close.
There were so many of those cases. Like, I mean, obviously the Cuban Missile Crisis. I forget what year it was, but then in Berlin, basically Russia and America rolled their tanks up and just right at each other. I think that was like 51, maybe. But, the number of times in the 20th century that we almost blew ourselves up it's pretty amazing that we didn't.
Then I do not know if it's just blown up because of the movie, and maybe they all always knew it's a computer error, and there's a possibility of a computer error, and so they always by standard waited just and
Right.
hit the thing and be like, okay, let's wait 10 minutes and see
Right,
what
right.
happens, or if it really was that.
I think it was like that. I mean,
Crazy, yeah.
I read that article because the article was titled "The Man Who Saved the World."
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, great.
It all depends on one guy.
It all depended on one guy.
Right.
Twen-
Scary.
The 20th century.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever think of going back to the States?
To live or to visit?
I don't know. You tell me. live?
I love visiting the States. It's complicated. Like, there's some things I love about America, and there's a lot of things I hate about America. But
Stanislav Petrol is the name of the general. Okay.
cool.
Right. Cool. Thanks, Stanislav, for saving the world.
Yeah, right.
Yeah? Well done.
Cheers to him.
Just like
Yeah, one for him.
Na zdrowie, Stanislav. Petrol is a good.
Na zdrowie.
Petrol is a great last name, though.
Right. But as a place to live, I'm not so interested. I don't know. I mean, America is, for many reasons, it's great. I'm happy it's in the world. I'm happy I have the passport. But as a place to live, as a consumer, as a capitalist, the way that you should live your life is to work your ass off and not have health care and come home and consume TV and fast food and all of that stuff. It's just not a place that I really have any interest in living in anymore.
Isn't it like that in Japan, though, too? Like, aren't they very well known for working their ass off
See,
until they fall?
this is what's
Fall
so
asleep
this is what's so
standing.
fascinating is Japan is kind of a shadow of the States as far as like how well it became capitalist after World War II. But because they're Japanese and I'm not, I can kind of live this like shadow life of being there but not really indulging in their form of consumer society.
Right.
So, yeah, it's kind of strange. I mean, because in many regards, America and Japan are actually very similar when it comes to capitalism. Japanese are excellent capitalists. They love to buy, they love to shop, they love TV, they love fast food. But I get to kind of avoid all of that stuff. Or maybe it's just easier to tone out because it's not my culture and not my language and not all that stuff. You know what I mean?
So basically, Japan is a very booming economy at the moment, right? Or where?
Well,
wasn't there
I
like
mean,
a crash
their
recently?
economy's good because it's still the third biggest in the world after China.
Third biggest?
We're first, China's second, Japan's third now.
Huh.
Used to be second for. I mean, what was so interesting when I was a kid was my first experiences with Japan were two things: was Godzilla movies, and was during the bubble when Japan basically was buying all of New York and Los Angeles, and it was the idea of like, you have to learn Japanese because they're going to buy the whole country and they're going to take over the world, right? And I was just like, okay, whatever. I don't even know where Japan is, but and which is happening with China right now, which is funny, but yeah, I mean, their economy's good, but Japan has a huge population problem. Because it's kind of a xenophobic culture, they don't want to have immigration. And if they don't have immigration, that means their population is going to continue to decrease. And as their population decreases, they're not going to have enough people paying taxes. If people aren't paying taxes, there's no social security, there's no health care, and they're fucked.
And on top of that, I read that there's like a literal lack of sex problem amongst the youth. Is that true?
Yes.
And why is that?
So what's funny about this is in Japanese, those kind of guys that don't fuck, they call them vegetarians.
They call them vegetarians.
They call them vegetarians,
Wow.
right? Not non-meat eaters. But it's a complicated thing.
It's not that complicated, you know. It's like
No, but I mean, there's a lot of factors
Oh, I know,
why
just
young
kidding.
people don't want to fuck.
Right.
A lot of it's technology. A lot of young guys want to spend their time at home playing video games.
That's
and
stupid.
there was a Japanese guy who married a hologram of a girl. of like an anime character.
Like legally or just...
Legally. He legally married an anime character.
You can do that?
I guess you can. I mean, it never really came up in conversation why anyone want to marry an anime character.
Right.
But like they have these holograms in Japan where the girl's interactive and she wakes you up in the morning and greets you and she's happy that you came home at night. Yeah.
What's the thing called?
I can't remember the name of it. I could find you.
Does it look realistic? Like, is it kind of Star Wars style hologram, or is it like one of the things that
it is? It is. But it looks like an anime. You know, they're anime. You know, they have huge round eyes and big boobs, and you know, like
okay,
yeah. But yeah, some dude married one.
That's weird, man.
I can find you the video later.
Yeah,
I'll show it to you.
Totally.
Yeah.
But why can't you do both? Like, play video games and find a partner? You know, has it to do with this phenomenon of also like sports video games in the sense that there's like competitions and that they are making a lot of money with it, and so they compete and make money and put all their time into playing video games,
right.
Or is it just that they do not want to engage in the social life?
So there's also a problem of like, whereas 30, 40 years ago, a guy would go to college, they would finish college, they would get into a job, and they would be guaranteed that job for life.
Right.
And that job would work you to death, but they were pretty much guaranteed to be, they had their life plan kind of figured out for them. That whole aspect of Japan is really decreasing, where people work part-time jobs or, you know, whatever, and young people realize like they don't want to work themselves to death, and they'd rather just live in a basement with their parents' house. So, can I get a second?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks. All right. I'll be right back.
All right, we're going to take a short commercial break while we have Tom, who's leaving the premises. Well, so for everybody who just arrived, this is the Heysal podcast, which is a podcast we broadcast live from Rome, Italy, and right now we're talking to Tom Lindbloom, who is an American who lives in Japan, and he's an actor there and does different funny things. And if you have any questions, by the way, there's a live stream happening right now on Facebook, so you can ask questions there. You can find all the episodes, past episodes, on heysal.net.
Hey, I'm back.
That was quick.
I know.
Jesus.
I got
Jesus. I was just getting warm doing like the whole...
I got a bladder like a 4-year-old girl.
Welcome back.
I'm back.
How are you feeling?
Good. Better now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Should have gotten a few more drinks before we came down here.
I guess we should have.
I think probably in a few minutes we should go for another round.
Maybe we should.
Anyway, we're talking about what we're talking about. Any new questions here? Any new live stream?
No, same one.
No. All right.
Oop.
There we go.
There you go.
Very good. So we were talking about lack of sex.
Lack of
in
sex.
Japan. Horrible.
Japan's
a
lack
horrible
of sex.
epidemic that is rolling over the country.
Yeah. So a lot of Japanese dudes just don't want to date women.
Right.
They'd rather live in their basements and play video games and enjoy their virtual reality girlfriends. I mean, there's so many apps in Japan for like virtual girlfriends and they just send you like, oh, I missed you, I love you, I care about you so much. It's odd. It's pretty strange.
This live streaming question, I just lost it. Can we get the question back up, Frankie? Thanks. How is music? How's music like dancing and discos in Japan? Okay.
If you love pop music, it's great. Japanese love pop music.
Okay.
So that stuff's everywhere. For me, like blues, jazz, rock, heavy metal, reggae, classical, flamenco. Like I like a lot of different stuff, but I'm not so into pop music. So it's a little bit harder to find music I actually like in
So
Japan.
it's mostly pop?
It is. So, I mean, they have other forms of music. Like they have something called enka.
Enka.
Have you heard of enka?
No.
Okay. Enka is their like traditional, it's all like ballad love songs, but it's all super sad shit, right?
Okay.
And, you know, it's all minor keys, and it's basically their form of the blues, pretty much.
Okay.
And most of it comes from like the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I like it. Other people don't, but it's just like, you know, complaining about having to work too much and drink too much, and, you know, Japanese drink a lot.
I thought you have this like lacking gene, this Asian lacking gene that
Yeah, I
kind
mean,
of makes
I've
drunk right away?
I've heard that that there's some enzyme in the stomach that Asian people don't have, but they're all huge drinkers.
Is that a thing? Or is it
Mongolians,
just bullshit?
Chinese, Koreans, Japanese, they all love to fucking drink.
Right.
Yeah.
But is it maybe just is it a real thing, or is it just like one of these urban
I
legends?
think maybe, well, like a good example is, and supposedly this comes from Mongolia, but a lot of Asians have a blue spot above their ass crack.
Wait, what?
Yes.
What?
Never heard of this?
Fuck no.
Okay, so
Just making this shit up.
no, I'm
They got a blue spot over their ass crack.
like, you know, the small of the back, right?
Like what a blue spot? Like a dot that you paint with a pen
Like,
or
you
something?
know, like that big, and it's blue.
Who? Everybody.
Not everybody, but so genetically, supposedly it comes from Mongolia, right? So Genghis Khan, when he was taking over the world, and then his grandson Kublai Khan, who had the biggest land empire in the world,
Right.
they fucked everybody. Every country they went into, they fucked them literally and metaphorically. Okay, and so I think like Genghis has like 10 million descendants at this point
Right.
from 800 years ago, and a lot of those people have a spot above their ass that's blue. You know, until you see it, you're not going to believe it, but I've seen it.
Wow.
Okay. And a lot of Japanese have it. So, I mean, not a lot, but I mean, some of them have it. So, supposedly that's all from his conquering and fucking.
Okay.
Yeah.
He tagged them basically for life.
Yeah. Literally and metaphorically.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. Jesus. All right. So if you ever decide to come back to Europe, to Italy maybe, how would the life look like?
Well, so I've given this a fair amount of thought. I really like your country. I don't know if I would want to work for an Italian. I've heard bad things.
Really?
Yeah. You know, just everything's real lackadaisical and sloppy. And
That's just a myth. Everything's very orderly and very organized in
Really?
this country. Yes,
Really?
yes, of course.
But, you know, as a place to retire to or to live working on the internet, I would love to live in Italy.
Right.
Yeah. So, next few years, I think, I'll be back.
Abruzzo?
I've thought about it. I mean, that, you know, just the historical part of it would be cool. But, like, I don't know. We'll see how Sicily goes if I go down there. The north, not so much.
No?
Nah.
Milan? Turin?
Nah.
There's a lot of business there, you know?
There is, but, I mean, they're just white people.
Okay.
Like,
I see.
you know, I could pass for Milano if I was wearing something better.
Right.
But, like, you know, so, I don't know, probably central, southern. Rome's nice. Rome is probably one of my favorite cities in the world.
It's interesting how people decide to leave everything behind and end up in different places.
I guess so. I mean,
And
to me,
it's
just,
a remarkable story, you know? It's do you have many expats around there? Is there a big community of expats where you live? Or
oh, many.
Yeah.
Yeah, huge. You know, and like, there's little expat worlds where, you know, the English speakers all gravitate towards Irish and British pubs.
Right.
But then there's other little bubbles. Like, there's a whole group I was saying before about how there's a whole lot of like Japanese that grew up in Brazil. Another little weird world in Japan is I went to a barbecue once, and a bunch of Brazilians, but they were all Japanese Brazilians or half Japanese Brazilians,
Right.
And all of them were speaking Portuguese, and they had all lived in Japan for like 20 years and could barely speak Japanese. And they all, you know, they worked in factories and they did like the hard labor jobs,
Right.
basically. The shit that luckily I don't have to do. But like none of them liked Japan, but they all looked Japanese. And,
Okay.
and it was weird because I can't speak Portuguese, but I can speak Japanese. And I was trying to talk to them and they're just like, oh, I don't speak Japanese. And I'm like, what a strange little world that those people, you know, inhabit. So, but there's lots of those like little communities of different kinds of people. Like there's a Russian one. There's a Balkans one. There's a French one. People from their worlds tend to gravitate towards other people from their worlds, I guess.
Right.
You know.
One thing I read about, I'm not quite sure if it's really a thing or if it's another urban legend,
Right.
is that they are selling used underwear in machines.
So
is that really a thing?
I've never actually seen it.
Okay, so
but
it's not a thing.
Supposedly in Tokyo, there are places where you can buy used underwear from vending
Really?
machines. I have seen young women advertising their own underwear on like Craigslist,
Really?
and people buy them, I guess.
Is that legal?
I mean, some of them are underage, so I seriously doubt it.
Okay.
But when it comes to sex in Japan, they're kooky. They have very different angles than we do as Westerners, and so some things are technically illegal, but they just kind of look the other way. That
okay.
being one of them, generally.
Because they're so desperate that people have sex that they allow anything that goes, or
Okay, so
there must be some programs.
No,
some
so
national programs to
Yeah.
incite people to have more.
So this
intercourse.
is interesting. I asked a Japanese friend of mine, making real Japanese friends in Japan that you can actually consider like Western friends, which like you can ask them anything, like as a confidant, is very, very difficult. And I only have, in the whole time I've been there, I think I have 3 Japanese friends, but I would consider friends like we're friends or other friends from the States or, friends.
Okay.
And so I asked him one time when we were drinking, I said, why are Japanese such fucking perverts about like underwear and pictures of, naked ladies of like their, upskirt shots and like.
Right, there was another problem that they had there for a long time that they had to tackle, that people would take pictures of under the skirt.
Yes, that's still a problem.
Really?
Those guys are called chikan.
Chikan.
Chikan. So they rub up against girls.
Chikan. Bad.
Bad.
No do.
No
Chikan.
chikans.
No chikan.
They take pictures of girls on their under the skirts and whatnot.
Horrible.
But so I was asking my friend about this, and his response was, we have such pressure in our lives as far as work and family and responsibility that our release is to get weird about sex.
That sounds like a strange excuse to me. I know a lot of people who
It is a
work
strange
hard
excuse,
and do a lot of.
but when you live there, you understand, because the pressure on them in their culture is huge, right? I don't have any of that pressure.
Like family and cultural pressure, or
Yeah, responsibility, cultural pressure, things you're supposed to do through the year. Like, I got to go here on this day. I've got to, I got to spend money to buy this because, it's the 5th day of the 2nd day of June, and you need to have
Right.
this present for this person, and there's just a lot of rules, right? And I don't have to do any of that stuff. I just play a dumb foreigner, and they go, okay, you're a dumb foreigner. You don't have to follow the rules the same way we do.
Right.
But it's hard to be them. It is. I mean, respect is due. Like, Japanese people live really hard lives. So
how's life in Japan at the moment? Do you ever feel like a threat from North Korea, from missiles being tested and flying over your town, or is it something that nobody gives a crap about in real?
Oh, they do.
Life, or
Well, I mean, living in Osaka, after Tokyo, I guess we would be the second target. My president, the big orange Donald, not a huge fan, but from the aspect of, at least because he placated North Korea, that, nuclear war is not imminent.
right.
God bless, from this aspect, go Donald,
All right. You just received a love letter from Kim Jong-un.
Exactly. So
just yesterday, right?
love letters are better than missiles.
Right.
So that's my whole opinion on the thing, is just whatever.
Right. Do you think it's really gonna get him to sign a peace treaty? Do
Oh,
you think?
no, I doubt it.
No?
No, it's not going to happen. Yeah,
Why not?
because North Koreans are clever. and they want to get as much out of something without giving anything. And so far, they're doing pretty good. And I mean, and their whole angle, which has been their angle through many generations, which is if we act crazy enough, people will back off because they know that they can't win. I mean, if there was an actual war, they would lose. And I mean, their ace in the hole is they have China on their doorstep, of course, which is why they didn't lose the Korean War. But you know, if they act crazy enough, people will just leave them alone.
Right.
And that's the whole angle. Is
So you think it's never going to change? It's just a big game that they're playing.
That's so hard to predict when it will happen. I mean, at some point, if there's not a war, there will be reunification. I do think.
Yeah.
But how that will happen, whether that will be internally North Korea falls apart, or the death of the leader, or who knows? I couldn't even take a bet on that.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see if there are any other questions that have arrived. I see some blue dot down there. Is that like a new question thing, or what does it mean? It's like a blue.
Ah, finally. What is that? Ah, finally.
Ah, finally. Okay. Very good.
Oh, here we go.
What's that referred
so
to?
when do you start talking about sex? Boring.
About sex, we already did that, I think.
Says the
Who
French
was that?
girl.
Of course.
Yeah.
Bonsoir. Comment ça va?
Bonsoir.
All right. All right. Is there any website or anything where people can check out your fantastic work?
You could see some of my short videos. The one that actually got us to Cannes on YouTube. If you go to Dude Y, DUDE, and then the letter Y as my director friend's website. You can check me out on Facebook, Thomas Lindbloom.
All right.
Yeah.
Everybody, stay safe. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.